Good evening, good evening, good evening. A better you lifestyle. I'm your host, Willie A. Price. Willie A. Price Speaks. And this is our first Sunday in the month of February, Black History Month. So we're kicking off a better you lifestyle, understanding your you, which is the first week of every month. Then we go into our second week, which is a mother's love. And from a mother's love, we go into, hold on one second. From a mother's love, we go to financially you. Then our fourth week is making your house your home. And the thing with making your house your home, we're going to combine that between two different subjects, making your house your home and uh, aging in place, which is working with seniors and all the whole situation with aging in place. That's going to be a big situation that's going on. By the year 2030, 73 million people will be caught between trying to figure out how to stay in their homes and age and retire versus being put into a nursing home or a nursing facility. That's how bad it is. And the program is called CAPS, which is Certified Aging in Place Specialist. And the thing is, the more I talk about it, the fewer people I find understand what CAPS is. I'm gonna turn this music off right now, but they find the fewer people that understands what CAPS is. And so we're not going to talk about CAPS tonight. I just want to share a little bit about what it is and what's been going on the last month. And that's what this show is tonight is what you're going to do in your 2024. And the thing that's going on with CAPS, every time I mention it, Certified Aging in Place Specialist and what it is, people, they look confused, but they also look excited about it. And the reason why they look confused is because no one has ever heard of it. And then the reason why they're excited is because I'm sharing information with them on the benefits of what's available for people as they age in place. But tonight we're going to talk about understanding your you. Understanding your you, where do you plan to go in 2024? What are your goals for 2024? Understanding your you. Who are you? What do you plan to do different in 2024 that you didn't do in 2023? Some of us have probably already started off our year 2024 in January, uh, making some changes. Some people may have been forced to make some changes. Some people may have made some changes. And some people are actually considering making some changes. They're up in the air about it. This is February now. You should have something written down, something in place, something that you can think about to start working on. You don't want to start February, March, April, May, and then start to put together a plan because now you only got eight months to work on it. You really should have been working on a plan in November, December. But we use the excuse that I'm going to do it in the new year and see where it goes. And then when the new year comes, we get tied up with other things. And as a result, by the time we have anything concrete put together, we're into June and July. And then it's, well, I'll wait till next year. Or I'll work on it and put some things together, but I won't go all out into to the whole thing until next year. And that means you're not going to get it done. That means you're not going to get anything done. Understanding your you, what are you planning to do in 2024 to create a better you lifestyle for yourself? The longer you wait, that means that's 1 year less that you have to put together whatever it is you want to put together. Because as you get older, that means time is running out. So if you're talking about financial literacy, where you're talking about trying to put a certain amount of money together to be able to retire or have at a certain time frame, and I tell people all the time, don't plan for retirement. Planning for retirement is the worst thing you can do. Do not plan for retirement. What you should be doing is planning some activities. And based on those activities, plan to have a certain amount of money at each point. as you achieve those or start to set and achieve those goals. So if you're planning, say, I want in the next 5 years, I want to go on a cruise, then you start putting monies aside to go on that cruise. But then you also have some other things written up. So that way, as you're putting this list together, you're looking at what the cost is. And as you put that cost together, and you say, I'm going to save every month, or every 2 weeks, or whatever the case may be, to achieve this goal. But you're not you're not just achieving that one goal, you're achieving all your goals. So you put together, I want to go on a cruise. In the next 3 years, I want to go on, I want to go see family. I want to go, I want to pay off my car note. So you start looking at all the things you need to do in order to do that. And then you look at what the amounts are. I want to have, by the next 5-10 years, I want to have an amount where I can live off of. So, okay, what do you need to do that? You need to set up some type of an account, some type of IRA, some type of universal life insurance policy. What do you need to do in order to achieve that goal? So that's what you're going to start doing. You put that plan together. You write down each one of those events or activities, and then you put some amounts next to them. And then you break those amounts down over the amount of years that you set to achieve them. So you said in 10 years you want to retire, or not retire, but you want to have a certain amount that you can live comfortably off of. You need to look and see what policy is going to provide that, how much that policy is over the next 10 years, and then you put that amount. So if that amount is, say, $100 a month over the next 10 years, then you write that $100 down. Then you say, well, I want to pay off my car note in the next 3 years, and I owe whatever you owe on it, say $5,000 or $10,000, and I'm paying, $250 a month. How much more do I need to pay to be able to pay it off in the next 3 years? So then you put that amount down, and then you just go, bit by bit, and you put those amounts, and then you're going to have an amount that you need to have saved every month for each one of those individual things. But what comes with that is discipline. What comes with that is discipline. And a lot of people, because they're not used to saving, because they're not used to setting up goals and putting money aside to be able to plan for their future, they don't have the discipline because they don't have the experience of having to save money like that. And that, I find that's been a big problem with a lot of the people that I work with, a lot of my people in my programs, young people, older people. When I talk about the discipline of saving and discipline of setting goals, not so much even just savings, but the discipline of setting goals, because that's the thing. You have to set a goal. And then once you set that goal and you put those amounts, then the discipline comes in where you're going to have to pay a certain amount every month out of your check towards those goals. And that's the problem. Especially if you're doing a long-term goal, like I said, 10 years or 5 years to go on a trip or whatever the case may be, that vacation may be for you and your spouse or you and your boyfriend or whoever you plan on going with. It may be, say, $5,000. You want to do $5,000 in the next 5 years to go on a cruise where you can go and stay for 7 days and stay in a hotel and do, whatever it is you want to do. So now you say it's $5,000 over the next 5 years. So that's actually 60. That's 60 months. So then you look at that. So even if you say $3,000, say $3,000. So that's actually what would that be? That'd be like $250 a month. I put in 3,000 because it'd be easier for me to calculate. But you're looking at about $3,000, $250 a month over the next 5 years to reach that goal, which is, again, that's something that you're looking at doing. So you're looking at that and you're doing that 3,000 over 5 years. No, actually, it's going to be less than that. I was calculating something else when I said the 5,000. But even if you do, it'll be less than $100. So you're looking at around, because if you do 5,000 over 60 months, it's like like 50. It's sort of like you're looking at like $50 a month. $50 a month over the next 5 years, over the 5 years to be able to pay for that cruise. $50 is not a lot of money. So now you add that onto the $100 that you're paying for the insurance. Then you add that amount to whatever it is you're going to talk about paying extra on the car note to get the car paid off in 3 years. And then you put those amounts together. So now you're looking at, 150 here, 50 there, 50 there. So you say, I have to do an extra $500 a month. And it's going to go to all these different things. An extra $500 may not be a lot of money. So now you start doing that, and now as you reach your goals, you're paying off the car note. So now you no longer have a car note to pay. You have an extra $250, which is whatever you were paying in the beginning for your car note, plus that $50 that you were adding to it. So now you got extra $300 a month that you can apply to something else, that you can add to a savings account, not a savings account, but some type of an account where it's going to give you some kind of interest or dividends or whatever the case may be. So now that gives you additional money, and you do that over a year, $300 over a year. That's $3,600 extra that you add. See, and that's what that's what I try to explain to people when I do my program. We hear $100, and it's $100 ain't a lot of money, but if you have $100 saved every year for the next 5 years, you're looking at $1,200 for 1 year. And in 5 years, you got $6,000 saved. That's just in an account, paying no interest, paying no dividends, that's paying nothing. That's just you putting that $100 every month in an account. That gives you $6,000 in 5 years. And it may not look like a lot in the beginning because you're only doing $100. So if you're doing $100, you got $1,200. But when you get to $1,200, you be like, oh wow, I did $1,200 over a year. That ain't bad. But then that next year you got $2,400. You may start adding a few extra dollars. So next thing you know, by year 3, you may have 3, 4, 5, 6, the 3,600 plus. You may have added some extra money to it, and you made $4,000 or $5,000 in 3 years. 3 years, and then you can take some of that money and do something with it. You can take some of that money and pay off something else. And so now you're paying off something else that you no longer have to pay. And now you have the money that you were using to pay whatever that was. You have that added to that that money that that $100 or that $300, that $300. You say another $100. So now you're adding $400 a month instead of $300. So I mean, that's how financial literacy works. Understanding your you means you have to come up with the plan. You know your plan. You know what you want to do. You know what your goals are. You know what your potential is. You know what your income is. You know all those things. You have to put the plan together, and you have to create the discipline. And that's where so many people fall off, is the discipline, because they see that $5,000 sitting in the account, and then they start thinking about all the things they can do with that $5,000. That $2,000, that $1,000, that $1,200, their mind starts wandering about things that they it's not. Then they say, "I need to get this." It's not that they need to get it; it's something that they want. I always tell one of the things I talk about in my stock program. I always say need versus want. That's how you do financial literacy. Need versus want. Is this something before you make a purchase, any payment, anything that you do, need versus want? Is this something I need, or is this something I want? If it's something you want, you don't need it. So there's no need to purchase it. It's just something that you want. But if you're saving that money, you're putting that money aside, you can build up enough that eventually you may get something that you want, but you at least have to start building up and discipline yourself to address your needs first. And by doing that, the needs versus want will help you to create that discipline so you don't run around and purchase things that you don't need. The things that you don't need. That's what the discipline is for. That's what need versus want is. So every time you make a purchase of any kind, anytime you consider, going out and having dinner. Do I need to go out to dinner, or do I want to go out to dinner? Do I need to have a drink while I'm out here, or do I want to have a drink? Do I need to have 2 drinks, or do I just want 2 drinks? Do I need to go to lunch every day? Do I need Starbucks every day? Or do I want Starbucks every day? Starbucks is $5 a day, $6 a day. Over 365 days, or even you figure not 3, because some days you don't work on the 2-day, you don't work on the weekends. So you figure out of 365 days, even if you say 250 days at $5, you're talking about $1,250 that you could save just on buying Starbucks. Think about that. $5 a day for 250 days is $1,250 just not buying Starbucks every day while you're at work. Making your own coffee, buy a container of coffee and make your own coffee, put a couple of packets together where you can make even more coffee when you get to work, and do that. Find the flavors that you want, the creamer that you want, all those things, and make it yourself and take it to work. Take some creamer with you and have it in your desk or wherever wherever you're stationed, in your desk or in your lounge or wherever you're allowed to put, what you need to have. And think about it. You're saving $5 a day, which does not sound like a lot, but 250 days at $5 a day is $1,250 that you could be saving. And that's just for 1 year. And now you save that for 5 years, you're up over $6,000. You're up over $6,000 again with 5 years. So doing those things. Hey, Douglas, how you doing, man? So doing those things, learning to understand what it is you're doing. Look at what you're doing every day in your life. Are you going to breakfast every day? You have people that go to breakfast every day before they go to work. They stop by McDonald's and they pick up, coffee and a sandwich and all these things. And then they go to work and they've paid $10 a day for coffee and for breakfast. And then they get Starbucks later on that afternoon. So now you're looking at $15. So imagine making your breakfast the night before and heating it up before you go to work, making your cup of coffee, having your coffee available so you can take it with you. All those kind of things you can do to relinquish the want, not the need, because you don't need to do these things. So relinquishing the want to be able, wanting to go buy breakfast, to wanting to go buy Starbucks. So now you're saving that $15, $20 a day on doing that. So now at $250, you're looking at what was that? 2 years? That's $5,000. That's $5,000. If you're doing $20 a day, that's $5,000 that you're saving in 1 year. And you don't realize, a lot of times people don't even realize they're spending that much. $5,000. If you're spending $20 a day on McDonald's for breakfast in the morning, and then you're buying some Starbucks in the afternoon or twice a day while you're at work, $20 a day for 250 days. And I'm saying that without, including weekends. So like 250 days at $20 a day, that is $5,000 a year. $5,000 a year that you could save just doing that. $20 a day. Just doing that will save you $5,000 a year. Those are the things that financial literacy teaches you and prepares you. And we don't think of, we don't know financial literacy. A lot of our parents didn't have that financial wherewithal to teach us. They didn't know. They didn't think about it. And they basically live paycheck to paycheck. I know people right now. I was watching a video earlier today. A young lady, she was crying on social media because she works, young girl who, finally got out. I don't know if she went to college or not because I didn't watch all of the video, but she has a job. She has a job. That was what the conversation was about. She has a job and she works 40 hours a week. And she was crying because she works 40 hours a week and she has no money. She's living paycheck to paycheck to pay her bills and credit card and car note and her rent, and having a little money to go out, periodically with her friends. But the thing is, with whatever she's making, because she doesn't have the financial literacy skills and the knowledge, there's probably a lot of things she's doing every single week that she could cut out, because like I said, need versus want. She could probably cut out some things and save that money and save it for a couple of months. And then that would give her a little nest egg to be able to do some of the things that she wants to do. But because she doesn't have that financial literacy, she's in a panic. And she's saying, I work 40 hours a week and I can't survive. I can't survive. I work 40 hours a week and I can't survive. I can't pay my bills. I can't pay my rent. I can't do this. I can't do that. All these things. And she was crying on social media because, again, she has no understanding of who she is and what her situation is. Understanding your you. That's what this show is about this week, is understanding your you and where you're going in 2024. And understanding your you means finding out what your financial things are as far as needs versus want. That's where you start with this. Need versus want. What am I spending money on that I think I need? What am I spending money on things that I want? And then figuring out which goes in which category, and then start eliminating the things that you want. I want coffee every morning from Starbucks. I want breakfast every morning from McDonald's. I want to go get my nails done instead of doing them myself. I want to get my feet done instead of doing them myself. Even cutting all those things down versus not, maybe, well, you might say, I can't do my own nails. I can't do my own feet. Okay, but you don't have to go every week to get them done either. There's ways of maintaining things. Once you learn how to maintain it, and that's how I actually, when I was younger, a little younger in high school and things like that, I used to have hair. I had hair, and when I had that hair, what I did was, because I did not like paying the barber to cut my hair. So what I would do is I would go to the barber shop and get a haircut, and then I bought my own clippers. And then when he would cut my hair, I would basically every other day go and do what he did, just touch up the areas that he did on my hair, so that way it still looked the same way as when I first went to him. And that allowed me the opportunity to be able to save money and not have to pay the barber. We can do that with our kids at home. They may not want, because our kids have gotten so spoiled that they may not want you to do that, but you take them to the barber, you buy the clipper, buy you some nice clippers, and you take them to the barber, let the barber cut his hair, and then every day you get up and you touch up the areas that are starting to grow. And that saves you $25, $30 in haircuts every week or every 2 days or whatever the case may be on your children's hair. So you take all the kids, get the haircut, and then you come in with your clippers every morning before they go to school, and you touch up that line, you touch up those edges. And it's very simple to do, because all you're doing is maintaining what was already there. And that's just how simple it is to save money, just on doing things like that. When you get your nails done, or your toes done, and you get the nail polish, get the same color nail polish. Buy the nail polish and look at the nail polish that they're putting on there, and you go buy it. And then you touch up your nails that color. Instead of having to rush back and having them take off the nail polish and then do it again, you touch up that nail polish with the same color. And now you've got an extra week or extra 2 weeks, because now, but then after a while, you start to learn how to do your own nails, or even, allow them to put the acrylic on. Then you come back and paint it because you know the colors and what you want to do. There's so many different ways. It's all about financial literacy, is learning how to save your money, and then being creative with how you save your money, how you're going to apply that savings, and how can I save some money by, touching up my kids' hair when they go to the barber shop, and then every day I touch up the hair to make sure it stays just like it was when they went to the barber. Touch up my own nails, touch up my own feet, touch up, touch whenever it needs to be touched up, and do those things. And now you're saving money, and you're taking that money, you've been able to save it. And that's the discipline. Because now that you're saving the money, you don't want to just save and then all of a sudden you start blowing it and finding something else that you want versus what you need. Buying something else that you wanted instead of putting it away for when it's time for something that you need. Understanding your you. That's how important that is with your financial literacy, with understanding who you are. But the first part is understanding who you are and what your situation is. What are you using your finances for? What are you buying as far as a need, and what are you buying as far as a want? Put that list together, eliminate the wants, look how much, and put how much you're saving. I mean, put not how much you're saving, but how much you're spending for the wants. I'm spending this for the want, and you make that list, and how much are you spending each day or each week or each month for those wants. And then for your needs, you put that list together for your needs. And then you put how much you're spending there. And then what you do is you start to put together where you're saving from the wants and paying off some of the things that are needs. If you have a car note, things that you can pay off and not have to recurring payments on. It's going to be hard to pay utilities off because you get utilities every month. But what you can do once you have started to save, you can take and find out, say your electric bill is $50. You average it out to $50 a month. So that's $600 a year. So if you pay $300 in the beginning of the year and then pay another $300 and 6 months later, your utility, that utility is paid up for the year. And then you can use that money that you're normally paying for the utility, that $50, you can use that to apply it to something else every month, because now you're not paying. That's one less bill you're paying every month. So, I mean, there's so many different things that you can do with financial literacy to help you to be in a better place. So I think about this young lady, like I said, she's crying because she's, I work 40 hours a month and I can't afford my bills. I can't pay my bills. I can't afford my car. I can't afford all these things she couldn't afford, but she never looked at what was she doing with her money. What things was she buying that she needed? What things was she buying that she wanted? And how could she get rid of the things that she wanted and focus on the things that she needed to maintain until she could put that money aside, pay off some bills. And then once she's paid off that car note, once she's paid off that student loan or whatever, whatever the things that she has to pay off. And student loans are tough right now because the student loans are so high. You have kids going to college and getting degrees that's $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 in student loans, and they're coming out with degrees that don't give them the source of income to be able to pay that money back. So you're going to school to be I don't know what you're going to school to be, because people going to school to do some crazy. I'm going to be an English major, and you spend $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 to be an English major, and then you come out and they say, well, what are you doing? Well, I work at Tony's restaurant on the week, and then I do, you're doing everything but whatever. I don't know what English you would do with English with an English major. You don't want to be a teacher. You don't want to be a school teacher. They'll say, well, I'm going to go and I'm going to be a college professor. So now that means you have to go back and get your master's and your doctorate. There's more funding you have to put in. So, I mean, we have to understand who we are and what our plans. Put a plan together before you get stuck with a situation where you have to make a plan. Start working on the plan now. Look at what your situation is. Look at what your finances are. Look at what your needs versus your wants are. And then make that list of needs versus wants, and how much are you paying for those things that you want, that cup of coffee, that breakfast every morning, and put that list together and start eliminating those things, and then see how you can save. Like I said, just 250 days, if you're doing $10 a day, that's $2,500. $2,500. Okay? That's a lot of money. $2,500 is a lot of money in just 1 year. You can save that in 1 year just by taking $10 for 250 days. That's a lot of money that you could save and use that money to now pay off the car note. And so now you no longer have the car note. So that's $250 that you get to keep. Plus, you're still doing that $5 a day or $10 a day for the Starbucks. So now you're doing $2,500 for that, plus you're doing, what is that, $250 plus, for the next 12 months. That's what, 2,800, 3,000. So that's $3,000 that you're saving for the end of the year for that. So I mean, there's so many things you can do, but the thing is, the financial literacy part of which is, I was talking about that earlier today. I posted about it. They've taken it out of schools. They don't do home ec. They don't do all the things that helps a young person. Even if they go to college, if they don't go to college, they still need to know how to maintain a budget. They still need to know how to pay a bill. They still need to know how to open a checking account. All these things they still need to do, whether they go to college or not, because they're not teaching it in college either. So it's like, well, they're going to college, so they don't need to know all that. Well, yeah, they do, because eventually they're going to have to write a check. Eventually, they're going to have to go and get electric and gas and all those things, utilities in their name, unless they get in an apartment that's all inclusive. And then if it's all inclusive, they still have to know how to determine if that apartment is going to be feasible for them. A lot of say, well, I make $1,000. I make $1,000 a week. That's $4,000 a month, and my rent is only $2,000. So that's half, so I can afford the rent. No, you really can't. No, you really can't. And so that's what happens. They think, well, my rent is, I'm get this nice apartment and it's $2,000 and I make $4,000 a month, so I'm good. But then they realize they're not thinking about, they still got the car note, they still got the student loan, they still have all these other things that they need to pay. And as a result, they're in the hole, because now they're robbing Peter to pay Paul, as people say, because they're not paying some bills, or paying on a bill instead of paying off the bill. They're behind in the payments. They're late in the payments because they're procrastinating about spending that money, and of course they're going to pay their rent. They're going to try to stay on top of the rent because they don't want to be homeless, instead of considering getting a roommate or considering moving to a smaller apartment. I was talking to somebody the other day. We were talking about other families, Asian families, Hispanic families, all kind of different families, except for Black families and some white families. Our kids get 17, 18, 19 years old, and we start looking for them to get out. These families stay together, and they work, and they save their money, and they pay whatever. Each person contributes a little bit, and they pay the bills. And then they take some money and they save it, and then they use that money to open a business or to buy a car or buy taxis. They do what's called a susu, and they buy taxis. And then that person buy a taxi, and then they pay the money back that they got for buying their taxi. And then the next person buys a taxi, or another person might buy it and start a business. So they keep replenishing the money to help the next person to get out and start something. But they're all still living in the same house. They're all still living in the same house, paying the same amount. So that way their cost of living doesn't go any higher, but they're still putting money together and going out and buying and starting businesses and all these different things. That's how they're able to go into an auction and pay $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $100,000 for a house. And then they take that house and they put a couple of families in there. And then they might split up some of the family and move in one to the apartment. So now you got another family downstairs paying the rent, and then you got 3 or 4 of the other family members living in one of the apartments, and they're splitting the cost in that house. And so, I mean, there's so many things that can be done to help you to create some opportunities and create a better lifestyle for yourself. Discipline is the key to all of it. Understanding who you are and what your discipline is going to be in order to get on the right track and pay those bills and get the needs versus the wants on the right track. I mean, I could go on with this forever. I'm working on trying to do some financial literacy programs in the schools. I have a program called Think and Grow Wealth that I normally do in the summers. I was doing it in the summers for a couple of years with an agency, and when the executive director retired, the new director did not want to do the programs. They didn't see the benefits of financial literacy, so we haven't done it with that program in a very long time. So we're looking to do some funding, get some funding, and do some financial literacy, not just for the kids, but we're going to do some financial literacy for the families. because there are a lot of families that live paycheck to paycheck that don't know how to open a checking account. They're using check cash in places. If everybody knew how to open a checking account and do their expenses and things like that and get out of debt, check cash in places will go out of business. But they're not going out of business because there's too many people who don't have their finances in order. So we're going to work on that for 2024. That's going to be one of our goals, to help to improve the financial literacy and the financial awareness for everyone, anyone, you, me, anybody who wants to improve their financial awareness and their financial literacy. We're going to be working with. We're going to do some programs. We're going to do some information on this platform to help people to create a better lifestyle for themselves. Again, my name is Willie A. Price. Willie A. Price Speaks. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the program. I will see you next week. We're going to be talking about a mother's love, and we're going to talk about a new program that I am hoping to start in March. And we're going to talk about that next week under a mother's love. And this is a new program. We've gotten the funding for it already, and we're looking to start it in March. And I'm excited about it because it's starting to pick up traction again. And so we're still trying to find a couple more sponsors to really get the program where we want it to be. So you guys have a blessed day, a blessed week, a blessed February. Happy Black History Month. And remember, Black History is 24/7, 365, and not just, actually, this year is 366. Because this month in February, we have 29 days versus 28. So we get an extra day to celebrate the Black History Month, because it's 29 days in the month of February this year, which is considered what is called a leap year. So you guys have a blessed day, and I will see you next week. A better you, a better me, a better lifestyle. Take care.